What is going on YouTube? This is Hunter, and in this tutorial I'm just going to talk about how to make a friend system using PHP. So I'm going to make a tutorial series about logics, just a bunch of how-tos, how to make a friend request system, how to make a conversation system, because there was a lot of people who just came to me and say, okay, I want to know how to make this. I know PHP, I know the syntax, but how to make this? So I'm just going to teach everyone, those who do not know, I'm just going to tell you how to do these. So let's start. Well, this is a friend request system, and of course we need two users, one the sender, one the receiver. Voila. And we're gonna have three buttons. Actually, it's going to be one button, but using Ajax or jQuery, JavaScript, but Ajax or jQuery, we're gonna change the button into different values. We're gonna change the value of the different buttons. We're gonna have the send request first, and upon what the user does, it's going to change to either cancel request or unfriend. Just like in Facebook, when you are in Facebook, you just added Adam, let's say Adam, you just added Adam a friend request, you just sent him a friend request, the same button will just change into cancel request, so you cancel that request. Great. Now when you finish canceling that request, it will just come back to send request. Or if Adam accepted that friend request, you can now unfriend him because Adam is a total jerk. This is the awesome truth. So let's start with the logic straight away. So okay, let's start with the JavaScript first before we go to the PHP. So remember, we have one button, we change the value every time. So now we're gonna have this logic. First of all, we're gonna have the send request button, and if it is clicked, you send request to the server. Sending request to the server, I mean you just talk to the database, you just talk to the server, you communicate with that. If you have to change your table, you change it. It's just like that. And when the send request is clicked, when the server has already done his job there, so you just change that button value into cancel request, because right now you just sent it, the request is sent. Now you can just cancel, you now have to cancel that request. Great. The second, if the cancel request is clicked, so we now have the cancel request. So if the cancel request is clicked, now you send request to the server. That is, you communicate with the server, and if the thing is done there, you change the value of that button to add friend. Again, you send request, you send request, so send request, because now if you want to send that request again, you can just send it. You don't have anything to do when you click the cancel request. You don't have anything to do with that person. You can just send him request whenever you want. Now if you are already friend with that person, and the button, so if you're already friend with that person, let's indent that, change button to unfriend. So if you're already friend, you change that button into unfriend, and if unfriend is clicked, you update friends to 0. And this one is what the whole tutorial is about, how to make the send request. Right now we just changed the buttons, and this is no PHP at all. This is just Ajax, jQuery, JavaScript, whereas this one is the actual PHP, and we're gonna go through that right now. So I hope this was very easy till now. If the send, it's just written here, you can just read that whenever you want, whenever you like it. If the send request is clicked, you just cancel that request. But your server is doing everything. So instead of update friends to 0, let's say server talks to server. So it talks to server. If unfriend is clicked, it talks to the server, and it does everything that it needs. And okay, let's put the send request, because I'm just going to explain that everything in a moment. Okay, so now let's go to the PHP part, and with PHP you will need, of course, MySQL, but now we have that new extension that came. You can use MySQLi, because this one, it is an improved version of MySQL. So I use MySQLi, you can use that too. But it's just the logic that I'm just going to talk about, because right now you may use, I don't know what language you're using. If you understand that logic, you can simply do whatever you want. So the PHP and MySQLi or MySQL, you need these two. So basically you need these two languages, the knowledge. You need HTML, of course, to make buttons. You need you need the Ajax, that is JavaScript. You need Ajax jQuery, and if you want to make it interactive, you use CSS, but I don't know who will not use CSS in his website. So CSS, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Ajax, jQuery, PHP, MySQL. Now you need a table in the MySQL. So MySQL database table, and in this tutorial we're gonna call that friends. So we have that table called friends, and the table will may have fields called sender, receiver. So you can just do like everyone else. You add an ID, sender ID, I don't know, this is up to you. So if the sender, now before I go further, I want to talk about this. If you are making a social network, you cannot use the sender, the first name or the last name, or the both combined, because I have thousands of Facebook accounts, and they may have the same name. Okay, I have 2 accounts using the same name. So if I was storing the first name and the last name as one, so I concatenated these 2, first name and last name. I just added them together, and I thought it would be a private key. Not private key, but it will be unique. But in fact, Facebook does not allow that. You can add a sender ID, you can add receiver ID, you can add username, but if you do the correct programming, that is inside your database, the username you add. What is that? Username you add unique key. So let's say you make a username, you add unique key, and in the PHP file that you are writing, you say if that name already exists in the database, do not allow this name. So this is complete MySQL. This one you can do. So just know that do not use, unless you're programming it that way, do not allow user to, do not code the first name here, the first name here, because everyone is called Hunter, everyone is called, I don't know, John Cena, everyone is called those names. Okay, not John Cena, but you know what I mean. So you will have an ID, you will have this, so the ID is, it's basically the friend ID, but you can add the sender ID or the sender email, because email, I believe you will not, it's irrational. You're gonna add 2 users using the same email. It's completely irrational. So you can add sender email, sender ID, anything you want, but it should be unique. Well, it should be unique in your users table, of course. So these will be in your users table. So you will have an ID, the sender ID, the receiver ID, and you can, well, you add something called, so let me just think about that, a name. So I'm just going to call that flag. So I'm just going to call that flag. So this will have, let me just indent a bit.